Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Future is Female podcast. This is your host, Ruffin Mitchner. Today I'm chatting with Sandy Lynn. She's a creator with over 500,000 followers on TikTok, and she's also the co founder of Creobase, the HubSpot for creators. I'm so excited to share her story, so let's jump in. Hi again, Sandy. So good to see you again. It's been a little too long since we've caught up. So excited to reconnect and hear what you've been up to. For our listeners, do you want to just start off by giving a little bit of a background on who you are and a little bit about what you're working on these days?
Yeah, for sure. A quick, short bio of me. I would say I'm a content creator plus a startup founders. But 2 years ago, I jumped on TikTok, and that's when I started sharing my entrepreneurship journey on social and kind of like launched my journey as a creator back then. So I've been a full-time content creator now for 2 years. I talk about startup marketing, lifestyle, honestly, anything that just my interest in within my interests. And then with that being said, it opened a lot of door within technology, tech, and VC space. So I also dabble in angel investing, then decided to really fully immerse myself in creative economy space. So now I'm building a startup within the creative economy space called Creobase. So I'll dive in a little bit more about Creobase, but in general, Creobase is a CRM system to help creator manage their brand partnership from end to end.
Amazing. Well, you are literally doing so many things. I can't wait to dive into all of these things. But to start, I'd love to go back in time and hear a little bit about that first business that you launched. I think I heard about it on a different podcast. You started an e-commerce pet accessory business while you were in school. Would love to hear a little bit about why you started that business and a little bit more about what that business was.
Yeah, I think entrepreneurship has always been very fascinating to me. Ever since I got my first job, it just didn't quite fit right. I didn't know what it was, but I just felt like I could be doing more at my position. And I wonder what could I do? So obviously starting my own business. It's kind of odd, but like I just feel like I have so much more autonomy. So in sophomore year of in university, I decided to launch a pet accessory brand. It's literally we sell like bandana, collar, leashes, and back then I have no money, so I literally drop ship for the first 3 months to got them first bank money. And then I invested in a sewing machine and I went to Joanne fabric store and bought like fabrics to sew myself and just post it onto social media and start selling that. And that journey run about like 2.5 years. We went from like fully handmade by all by myself to like full blown productions. So it was a really cool journey to just be able to dabble into entrepreneurship first and see how the world of entrepreneurship operate as well.
That's so cool. And you were doing this like during school and everything. And how are
Yeah.
you managing all of that? And that's pretty
Yeah.
crazy.
I don't really go to school that much. I'm not gonna lie. I'm majoring in marketing, so I think that I have it a little easier in a way because like marketing, I think it has a very big flexibility and a big emphasis on creativities and entrepreneurship. So it gave me a bit of more time to explore whatever I want to explore. And back then I really placed it like, okay, half of them have to be like hybrid class, and half of them have to be like the professor isn't as strict. So I picked my class pretty surrounded between my other life schedule as well.
I can definitely relate. I did that during the MBA. I was like very focused on
Yeah.
creating content versus going to school. So I think that worked out for both of us. Very cool. And then, so did you continue on with that business? And where did you go from there after creating that business?
Yeah, so in May of 2020, pandemic hit, and then I was like, okay, I decided on to a different journey. So we stopped that shop down, and back then I was like, I'm very interested in tech, but I wasn't exactly sure how to tap into it. So I always keep an eye on it, and then study everything surrounding it. but it was such a gatekeeper community back then in 2020. So the only thing I knew was to share my journey and make it more visible to people who wanted to start an e-commerce shop to actually join and start one as well. So that's why I launched the TikTok channel. Back then, my handle was called small business tip underscore. And all I did is like sharing my journey, like how could young entrepreneur like myself start their own e-commerce business as well. Obviously, now it pivoted completely differently as content grows, as social media grows super rapidly. You kind of have to adapt and change your style with it as well.
Um, I remember I started following you originally when you were a small business tip, so it's cool to see your evolution
Yeah.
in the content creation world. Um, I agree. There's so much more information today about like tech and everything in that space. How have you come to learn a little bit more about tech and entrepreneurship and that world?
Yeah, I really had to thank content, being a content creator for that. Because with a community built up, it really you can leverage that community and help yourself get into any door that you want. And when I started creating content surrounding the small businesses, obviously my target audience are small business owner, founders. So a lot of these type of companies, startups in this space started to reaching out to me. Like Beacons is a link bio company, Copy.ai is a AI generated copy company. They are built in like 2020, and back then, I was one of the few creator that does this in this space. So they reach out to me, and that kind of helped me break into how does tech operate, how does fundraising operate, and how does angel investing operate. So I got to see the back end of tech for the very first time, and it was fascinating, but at the same time, scary AF. Like I was like, how do you raise $1 million? To me now, I'm like $1 million. It's not a lot, but then back then it was like, holy crap, like you had an idea and now you're going to raise $1 million. How do you even do that? So then that's how I dived into tech.
Wow. And did I see that you angel invested into Copy AI and Beacons? And can you share anything about that? Were there like maybe brand deals and partnerships involved there? Would love to learn more.
Yeah, so my very first deal, angel investment deal, was with Copy AI. They were raising their seed round, and prior to that, Chris is the co-founder, and I had a few meetings with him. They really believed in the power of TikTok, and I'm so happy that they did, because they really did skyrocket because of TikTok initially as well. So we did a few brand deals. I did a few brand deals. I think two of them with Chris at Copy.ai, and it went really well. And we kind of internally start advising them on how to do TikTok and how to strategize on go-to-market strategies as well, and introducing them to more creators in the space. And that kind of foster a relationship between us. I think the founder themselves understand how important the creator economy is in general and how correlated startups and creator is going to be in the future. So they wanted creators on their cap table. And since we already have that relationship fostered, when they were raising a C round, they asked myself and one other creator if we would be interested in joining on their cap table. And it was the weirdest experience ever. It's just like I was like, wait, you're asking me for money? Like that concept to me at that time was so weird. And I had no idea how angel investing worked. So I had to go about on like YouTube, very limiting resources, and then Twitter, I have to like figure out like what is angel investing and how do I even get return on that as well. But eventually, I believed in this founder so much, and I actually personally use a product. I invested a small amount of money in there as well.
So cool. Yeah, they've like crushed it on TikTok. I feel like they
Yeah,
truly just like gamed that so well. And I feel like everyone knows about them because of that platform. So very,
yeah.
very cool. Okay, so tell me, let's talk a little bit more about what you're working on at Creobase. Explain really like what the company does, what you guys are building. And then also would be curious to learn a little bit more about maybe like the pain points you face as a creator and why you are building this company.
Yeah, definitely. I think the first step will be like diving into pain point because that's the whole reason why Creobase came about. As a creator, I struggle a lot with learning curve as a creator because it's a fairly new industry and not a lot of information out there regarding to how much creators should be charging, how creators should be handling legal, the back end of creator, how everything works. So we kind of have to navigate that by ourselves. We're just creator coming together and talk kind of like headlessly, like about like how could we approach this? Um, and the biggest pain point for me was if I'm getting brand deal, how much should I be charging? And I'm getting so much brand deal right now. How can I ensure that I have a good workflow in the back end to make sure I'm sending the brands the right amount of concept and I'm having the content go live at the same times? How could I charge them? Everything all together, and how do I do my finances together? That to me was a whole different beast than starting an e-commerce store in the back end, right? So that pain point for me was the initial reason why it sparked my interest in the creator economy space and building as well. So I myself, I probably got, and a lot of creator probably got 5 brand deals in their inbounds all the time. Or some people don't even get any, right? So then they have to reach out to brands, but they don't even know where to reach out to. A lot of them go on LinkedIn, Instagram, but there's not a way to really find the right contact information, the emails, and then reach out to the brand contact for actual pitch. So that kind of sparks where Creobase came about. Creobase is basically a discovery platform plus a CRM. It's a discovery platform allowing creator to actually find the right brand contact information. Let's say if I want to find a contact information in, I don't know, republic.com, we actually have a brand representative from republic.com on Creobase for creator to reach out to. So creator no longer have to go through the entire process of finding their emails on LinkedIn. So once they pitch that, how creator are able to collect that information and funnel that entire process can be entirely on our platform as well to ensure that they're having a really great flow of their processes.
I've used it and it's awesome. I already like reached out to some contacts on there. People got back to me so quickly. It literally saved me so much time because I feel like in the past I would literally just like, you know, shoot at random people on LinkedIn who like might not even be the right contacts at the companies. And then it was like, oh, let me connect you to this person. It's like this whole rabbit hole thing. So super cool and exciting what you guys have created so far. I'm curious, is it just you working on this right now, or do you have other members of the team?
Yeah, I have a bomb co-founder. Like my co-founder journey has been crazy. Like it took me 6 months to
Wow.
find the right co-founder. And oh my God, I thought I would never find one. And then this amazing person from Australia came along. And he knows design, he knows coding, he knows no code, works at a YC company. And I was like, damn, like where have you been all my life? So we started working together, started in June, and we built super fast and just launched it like a month ago.
Nice. How did you guys meet?
We met on Deck. So on Deck has a really cool program, like a tool called co-founder matching. So the way it works is a little different than like YC matching tool. It like opens in like batches. So at specific time, people sign up and you have 3 days of matching period. And you kind of like Tinder, you swipe left and right, and then they match you on Slack. You start talking with each other. What I like about that is that you know that everyone here right now wants a co-founder. And secondly, they actually vet their candidate through. Everyone on there are like super qualified people as well.
Very nice. Did you do an on deck program also? And did your co-founder?
Oh no, not my co-founder. So you don't have to do an on deck program to join that like matching tool. But I did do 2 on deck program. I did on deck no code and on deck course creator in 2020 and 2021.
Nice. How were those programs? Like, did you find them pretty useful and would you recommend to other entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so I would recommend on deck no code. I feel like if you are a founder right now, there's so many no-code tools, especially non-technical. There's so many no-code tools that you can leverage without like having to code anything at all. So I think that itself is a really great back pocket knowledge. And the network itself, that the people that you get connected to are so quality. So I really strongly recommend joining one cohort and try it out. I think the network they build out is significant for sure.
Yeah, definitely heard of other people meeting co-founders through their matching tool. So super cool.
Yeah.
Um, I would love to know like how building Creobase has been different than your past businesses. Obviously building a tech company is probably pretty different from your e-commerce business. Would love to know, the differences you found and maybe what you like about each of the different types of businesses.
Yeah. I guess the biggest difference is that as I grow and then as I learn, you started to take things a lot less serious and launch it as fast as possible. I think this come like before in e-commerce, I feel like you have to have something perfect and then everything have to be taken picture perfectly, plan a campaign perfectly, and then launch it. With startup world, it's so different. Whereas you need to build and then validate, iterate. That's a very fast processes, right? And you kind of have to do that very fast in a really fast way when talking to user and building a product. I think that's the biggest difference for me. With e-commerce, you plan out a product and then you sketch it out and then you find a manufacturer, you build it, and then you create a big campaign around it. That take a whole different processes. When startup, it's so fast. The different rotation is so fast. But what I love about e-commerce is that you can physically touch the product. I do miss that feeling of actually like seeing and touching tangible product. That itself, I'm like, oh, I kind of miss that. Like I can wear proudly my product, or my dog can wear proudly my product. But with tech, what I really like is that the community around it, though from the outside, it seems kind of gatekeep, but within the community, everyone is just so welcoming. If you go on Twitter, you have a question, you ask a question, and people will message you and DM you and let you ask for help. And for me, that was not the case for e-commerce. I would have thought e-commerce has a more inclusive world, but everyone's so different in the niche, and people kind of, I feel like people aren't as willing to help in terms of that world. But in tech, everyone who have gone through the processes and raising fundraising and understand like how hard that could be, and people are just willing to give you a hand when you need to.
Yeah, that's awesome. Since we're on the topic of investing and fundraising, have you raised any angel capital? Are you raising a VC round, or are you guys just bootstrapping for now? Would love if you can share anything on that front.
Yeah, so I actually joined a salary program called Visible Hand. They're an incredible program that focuses on diversity founder. We received 125K of initial funding from them, and right now we're just fully bootstrapping. And yeah, we're just fully bootstrapping until we are see some sort of revenue stream of income before we actually go out and fundraise. If we go out and fundraise, it depends. Yeah.
Very cool. Exciting. And then also would love to just hear like what's next for Creobase, like what your next big milestone is and what you guys are most excited for coming up.
Yeah. So right now we just launched our discovery platform so creator can find their contact email. The next step for us would be actually like launching slowly the CRM system to help creator manage their brand processes. But the discovery platform is more like lead generation acting for Creobase right now.
Yep. I'm curious if you can share for like the people listening that might not be creators themselves, like will you walk us through like how a typical brand deal works, like, process from like beginning to end, because there's so much that goes into it that, I feel like you would never think of, honestly.
Yeah, it is crazy. Before I'm a creator, I was like, oh, this job is so easy. You take a picture and you post it on Instagram and you get paid. No, like this is so different. There's typically two processes. Either a brand reach out to you on your inbox, or you reach out to a brand on their inbox or their social media. Either or, you try to negotiate, talk, foster a relationship, understanding what the brands need, the campaign detail, what deliverable, so deliverable being meaning that what video do you need to post, how many posts do you need to post, and then once you get that done, you talk about money, the fun part, because you never know what to charge. There's no industry standard rate, so you kind of figure that out based off of your engagement and the needs of the company, how much deliverable they need. Do they charge for usage right? Do they want to use your content? Do they want to promote it? That's the extra charge. Once you figure out pricing, you go into contracting. Typically, a brand will send you a contract and you'll review it, and you typically don't know what you're doing as well. So you kind of Google a lot of things, or you hire a creator lawyer to look it through and then counter that contract. Once that stage is through, you go into content concepting. So you come up with concept, send it to brand for approval, receive feedback, do that again until approval, and then create your draft. Once you create your draft, you get feedback. And then once you get the right draft, you post that content. Post that content, and then you send over the analytics after 7 days. After that, then you send your invoice, but you don't get paid until 15, 30, 60, or 90 days after. That's the entire journey, basically.
I'm lost. That's crazy. It's so crazy. There's a lot to keep track of. And that
Yeah.
also brings me to a question of like, are you like, can you manage, like you have a massive following on TikTok. I'm sure you're doing a good amount of brand deals. Like, how do you manage that with what you're doing with Creobase?
Yeah, so that is the whole reason why I built Creobase. It's a selfish reason because like I couldn't manage at all. So I did this on my own for 2.5 years, and I had to build out my own processes on Notions and hack it through. Like I had to build it through Notion and sap between my Google Gmail all the way to Notion and my Google Calendar. So that's why like I need a process to build through. But it has been getting super out of hand lately. It just been too much going on. So I eventually had to join a talent management group because I had a different goal as a creator right now where I was before. Right now, I really want to focus on PR, getting my name out there, establishing myself as an industry leader in the creative economy space. And with that being said, like the talent management agency are able to kind of help you get there a little faster. So I just joined literally like last week. So I don't know yet. I'll let you know how it goes. But so
Nice.
far it's been so good, yeah.
Can you share what agency you're joining with?
Yeah, so they're called the Sociable Society. I went through so many agency research, and by far they're the best reputable like agency that I've heard from other creator.
Cool. Why can you share like why you maybe chose them and why you think they're going to be better than other agencies?
Yeah, so I think a lot of creators didn't know that there's a difference between management and agency, like agent. So management only help you manage like inbounds, like brands that reach out to you and they help you negotiate that process. But an agency, they really try to focus on both, which reaching out and managing your processes. So off the bat, like I knew that I want an agency and not a manager. So I just started looking into that. And that specific agency, they gravitated toward me because of their focus on, they're very, very focused on both Instagram and TikTok. A lot of agency now focus on TikTok and YouTube and kind of neglect Instagram a little bit. And I feel like Instagram, a lot of people say it's dying, but it's really not. It's a social currency. It's just like if you don't have an Instagram, it's like you don't have a LinkedIn in the queer economy world, right? And for me, they focus on that, and they really focus on outreach, like putting their creator out in the world to other large brand agents and focusing on getting them on PR, like events and like news and stuff like that. So ultimately, I chose them.
Yeah. I'm sure that'll be huge. And that's like a huge time consuming thing. And I bet they have so many like connections already in the space. So it's super exciting.
Yeah, thank you.
Congrats. And I'm also curious, can you share any advice on like how creators should think about pricing and, any good resources that you've used in the past to like figure out how you should be pricing your deals?
Yes. Every time I feel like I know how to price, a new information came about, and I'm like, oh, okay, maybe not. Maybe I don't know how to do this. But a really great resource would be, I think hashtag pay has the most accurate one. So a hashtag pay is a influencer marketing platform. And when you log on as a creator, you're able to get like a estimate. Like you plug in your information, kind of it has like Excel sheet to like, give you an estimate of how much you should be charging. And so far, I feel like they have the most accurate pricing compared to what I've seen with other platforms. So if you don't know, like try out that platform to get it like an initial price. But how I have been doing it, instead of looking at how much followers you have, look at how much, especially on TikTok, look at how much average views you have. Because followers and views doesn't always correlate on TikTok, as we know. So let's say if you average views are 10K, I kind of do like 1,000, every 1,000 view to $100 to $150, depending on your niche, because your niche could affect pretty big of your money as well. Like if you're in the beauty industry or fashion industry, unfortunately, it's a bit saturated and you tend to get charged a lot less. If you're in tech industry, you get to charge so much more. And if you're in finance industry, you're at the top of the pyramid. That's like the biggest, like the most like the most expensive niche to get into. So depending on the niche, there's a different charge rate as well. But my general consensus, like every 1,000 view is about 100 to 150 or even 200, depending on your like niche as well. So I have been charging, well, for mine in the past, because they just reprice myself. But right now I've been charging $2,000 to $3,000, and my average view is between 10 to 30K when I was at 350K followers on TikTok. So that's a little like price range there. But we're coming up with something on Creobase to help figure out that pricing strategy as well.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait for that. It's so neat
Yeah.
that it's just like so confusing and I feel like it's so just all over the place. And thank you for your transparency on sharing your rates. Really
Yeah, I really don't care. Like, I feel like people need to be talking about rates a lot more. And it might sound to outside people, oh my God, you're charging $2,000 per video. For me, before it's the same thing. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you because it takes time. And if you're to hire me, you're hiring a productions or an in-house content creator, right? So yeah, you kind of need to work up your nerve and know your worth.
Yes, so true. Um, Also, I'm curious. So, how are you starting to think about like how you're going to work with creators, like as you start to launch and build like a community around Creobase, and what's your strategy going to be there?
Yeah, so we have been very selective with the creator that come into Creobase beta, just because we want to make sure we are having like quality creator that we can see in the future be a community built surrounding it. So I've been just hammering creator on Creobase and be like, hey, would you want to call? So really trying to foster that one-on-one like relationship with creator has been the main strategy on Creobase. Who I really look up to in this space is Stan. So Stan with like their Lincoln Bio store, the founder himself, John, is a founder and a creator. And what I think their strategy did really well for John is that he built in public directly on TikTok, and he's fostered a very strong bond between himself and Stan and the creator. So that's kind of the model that we're trying to model after. Really focus on building with creator and understanding the needs of creator and our user as well.
Yeah. So true. I follow Stan on TikTok
Yeah.
and they've just built like such a strong community around their product. So very interesting to watch again, like creator slash founder like come to life. It's a
Yeah.
really cool new phenomenon to look at. Um, Amazing. Um, I guess just to finish, is there a female founder, investor, or leader that you look up to and would love to know a little bit about why?
Yeah, I really look up to Duma. Like she has been killing it on TikTok. So she's in the e-commerce like consumer space, and she's also a founder, previous founder, and then investor, and then a creator. I think she marries all three of them so beautifully together and created her own path in this space as well and opened so much door for her. So she's one person that I thought like it would be awesome to just hear her journey if you ever have her on top the podcast as well.
She crushes it. I love her content, and that is a great idea. I'm definitely going to have to get her on here. Hopefully, that'd be so fun. Amazing. Well, just one last thing. Where can we find you on your socials, and also where can people get on a wait list or sign up for Creobase?
Yeah, so my social is at by Sandy Lynn all over TikTok, Instagram, and TikTok. Wait, into Twitter. And then to join Creobase, it's just creobase.com.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much again for coming on. So fun reconnecting, and just can't wait to keep following your journey building this startup.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to like see this come to life as well.
Thank you so much for listening to the Future is Female podcast. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.